So, welcome to another episode. As you can see by the title, this is about the New York Knicks and the mystery of the triangle offense. It was revealed this week by ex-Knick now, Brandon Jennings, who's on the Wizards. He came out and had some negative things to say about the Knicks and running the offense and how he was confused. That's a common word, confused, that we'll be hearing about. He was confused about the triangle. He didn't know what was going on, and basically that's what he blamed the Knicks' bad season on. Of course, he's not blaming himself or the other Knicks players. It's always somebody else's fault. So we're going to be talking about uh, the triangle offense and the criticism of it. Now we're hearing criticism of it, how it's outdated, and it's outdated in today's NBA because today's NBA is much more up tempo. We'll talk about the history of the triangle offense and the success of it, and then I'll let you decide who's right. But I mean, the Knicks stand as of today 27-45. They're 12th in the East. They're 8 games out of the playoffs. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're uh, half a game from being 14th. Just only the woeful Brooklyn Nets have the worst record in the East. And the question is, how did this happen? The Knicks made so many good free agent signings, at least star power and name wise. Derrick Rose and former MVP. You got Joakim Noah, former defensive player. Brandon Jennings, who's a pretty good point guard. Kristaps Porzingis, he's another year approved, and of course we have the so-called franchise player Carmelo Anthony. So let's go. So, as you know, Phil Jackson, he didn't really invent the triangle offense, but the triangle offense has been around since the 40s, and it was established by Hall of Fame coach Sam Berry, and then later on, Tex Winter, who you see seated by Phil Jackson, he really took a liking to the triangle offense and brought it to the NBA. As his assistant to Phil with the Bulls in the 80s and 90s, and the Lakers later on in the 2000s, they incorporated the triangle offense. And again, everybody's always going to say, "Oh, well, that's because Michael Jordan and Kobe and Shaq and Scottie Pippen, they're great players." No, those players and those teams were good, but they failed to win championships. Both the Bulls and the Lakers started winning championships and became dynasties and all-time teams once Phil Jackson took over and implemented the triangle offense. The triangle offense is a system. It's meant to give the team a system, a foundation to follow. And the system's most important feature is the sideline triangle created by the center, who stands at the low post, and the guards stand on the top, and you always form a triangle with 3 players on one side, and then there's 2 players on the other side, and the ball's constantly moving depending on the defense, and it usually creates open shots or opportunities to drive. It works. It has worked. Its success has been proven already. But why not now? What's going on with the Knicks? What happened? All of a sudden now, Phil Jackson can't do nothing right. He sucks. He's the one. He signed these players. He signed Carmelo Anthony to a max deal and no trade clause. I think that might have been his biggest mistake. So we see the championships. The triangle offense is produced. The Bulls won three-peated twice in the 90s. And it really wasn't the same team. The first three-peat team had Horace Grant. Then Rodman came on the second three-peat team. They got Tony Kukoc. So they won. But, of course, yeah, Michael and Scotty, they were the foundation. And Jordan, his scoring wasn't affected. He was more controlled in a way that he didn't have to take every shot. And the triangle allowed other players to prosper. Same thing with the Lakers. They had two of the best players in the league, but before Phil Jackson came there, they couldn't do it. So that's 6 championships and 5 championships. It's 11 rings won by Phil Jackson as a coach using the triangle, and mind you, he won 2 more as a player. So this man has one of the highest, if not the highest, winning percentages as an NBA coach. He's won the most postseason games. He has 11 championships as a coach, two as a player. That's 13 in all. And in today's society, he's getting criticized. He doesn't know what he's doing. It's his fault. So him it was Brandon Jennings, who the Knicks waived, and now he was signed by the Wizards. He was only on a 1-year deal, I believe. So he had these quotes. There was just too much going on behind the scenes that I didn't understand, Jennings told the Daily News. I think what just happened was the way they were just going in a different direction. I wanted to play fast. I didn't really understand the triangle. See, this is you're going to see, as I explain later on, the triangle prohibits players from doing their thing. It's not a show, it's a team. It's not an individual game, it's a team game. I think that was my biggest thing. I really didn't understand it. And that's another thing, like I said, confusion and didn't understand it. Maybe maybe some of these players, it's not that they don't understand. Maybe it's that they don't want to understand. And that's because they want to do their own thing. So he says, I'm not saying it doesn't work. I just felt like the way the game is being played today, I just felt like you got to score. You got to score. You got to get up shots. See, that's what most of the NBA today is about. It's all about offense. My previous videos, I talk about how the NBA is in trouble. Nobody cares about defense. Only certain teams do, and when they need to. And of course, the Knicks, they're one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA. They don't even again, I always have to talk about him. Carmelo Anthony, he pretends to play defense. He has no interest in playing defense. Same thing with Derrick Rose. So Jennings continued, when I came to New York, I wanted to put on a show every night. See, he wants to put on a show. It's not your show. And I'm sure Carmelo Anthony wants to put on a show every night. I'm sure Derrick Rose wants to put on a show every night. But I'm sure Porzingis wants to put on a show. There's only one ball. And how about putting on a show on defense? I wanted to put up shots with nice passes and things like that. So I guess he wants to put up shots with nice passes and things like that. What is this, the schoolyard? And then there were other issues. Jennings piggyback, I guess he's going off of what Porzingis said earlier in the week. Porzingis said that he thought that the Knicks didn't connect and he wants another year playing with Derrick Rose. So at different points in the season, the Knicks went from playing fast pick and rolls to isolations to the triangle. The lack of continuity extends the offense. Yeah, so all right, the Knicks after starting 1-3, 1-4, then they went on a little stretch where they were actually a couple of games ahead, over 500, and then the bottom fell out. But just because you win a few games, it doesn't mean you're going to have success, continued success. And again, you see the last thing, the triangle. Why Phil Jackson wants to implement the triangle is because it limits the opposing team scoring easy transition baskets. Because when you play undisciplined offense, you don't know where the shot's coming from, and people just don't hustle back on defense. And of course, the Knicks just don't play defense. And Phil, on this case, it doesn't matter because these guys just don't care. They don't care about defense. They only care about themselves. So everybody has a problem learning the offense. It's so complicated. It's that. It's outdated. But there's players like Hall of Famer Dennis Rodman. And mind you, Dennis Rodman had no interest in playing offense, but yet he's still involved in the offense. He just didn't have any interest in scoring. As you know, his forte was rebounding. He's one of the best rebounders of all time, and he was at least maybe 6'8". He wasn't even really that big. So he said, this is a while back, I learned the triangle offense in probably 15 minutes when I was in Chicago. It's not that difficult. It's a triangle. And listen, if you know Dennis Rodman, this guy, he's great. He's a great basketball guy. But come on, you wouldn't confuse Dennis Rodman with a PhD. Maybe he has a PhD in basketball, but you get my point. Here's Dennis Rodman, who could care less about scoring, and he adjusted as do all the good players. See, it's good players that find it easy, that they find the triangle easy, and they find it useful, and they see the benefits of it. It's the bad players, and when I mean bad, it's not because they have no skills. Just because you have skills and you put up numbers doesn't mean you're a good player. Doesn't mean you're a championship player. And isn't that the whole point of playing in the NBA, to win the championship? So, again, I was confused. I didn't understand it. I wanted to do my thing. And then Shaq came out, and I give him credit. He actually defended Phil Jackson on the triangle, and he kind of threw shade at the Knicks players. He said it works. O'Neal said of the triangle, speaking to reporters after calling one of these Knicks Clippers, which the Knicks, of course, lost. They got blown out. When you're a player, you're used to doing something one way, and you bring it in the system, and a lot of guys don't like to give up their habits. Is he talking about what Jennings just said? About putting up shots and making nice passes and all that? But the triangle, the ball can't stop. It can't stop. That's right. Continuous movement. Continuous movement. And that's when early in the year, Phil Jackson, he got criticized. He's so horrible. He actually had the audacity to point something out when he tweeted that Carmelo Anthony holds the ball a little too long. The nerve of him. Who the hell does he think he is? O'Neal didn't name any Knicks specifically, but the team president Phil Jackson said earlier this season that the Carmelo Anthony could thrive in the offense, but has a tendency to stop the ball at times. O'Neal credited the Knicks' younger reserves for running it well. See, because the second team actually, they want to, they don't have the skill that the starters have, so they understand that in the triangle they'll become better players, and it'll give them a longer lifespan in the NBA. And he suggested that veterans like Anthony and Rose struggle to adapt the offense because of their previously established habits. It's not only them, it's everybody. They want to do what they got to do. Like I said, Anthony wants to put on a show. Derrick Rose wants to put on a show. Jennings wants to put on a show. There's only one ball, and it's the team. This isn't an individual sport. Shaq said he has 3 championships because of the triangle. You always hear people say, of course, the triangle works with Mike, Scotty, Shaq, which is true. But if you look at all our games, it was the others who propelled us to the next level. So you see the consistency there. What he just said earlier. The Knicks bench players run the triangle, and they run it well. But the difference between the championship teams of the Lakers and the Knicks is the star players on the Knicks don't want to buy into the system. They want to be selfish. That's what it's all about, being selfish. See, Shaq and Kobe, they understood. I'm sure Shaq wanted to put on a show every night with dunks. I'm sure Kobe wanted to put on a show every night. They did, and they won. But they did it in a system. It's not only about them, it's about the other players. The players who aren't stars. And then this guy, look at these, just look at this expression. They're a bunch of sad sacks. And how many championships are in this picture? Zero. Zero championships. And that's how many they're going to have for their careers. So then Carmelo came out and he said, I think everybody was trying to figure everything out. What was going to work? What wasn't going to work? Early in the season, we were winning games, went on a little winning streak. Yeah, that's all. We went on a little winning streak. We were playing a certain way. We went away from that, started playing another way. Everybody was trying to figure out, should we go back or do something different? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It really is unbelievable. They just because you get a little winning streak in the NBA, you think you're a championship team? No. So he says, I thought earlier we were playing faster and more free flow throughout the course of the game. In other words, that means he's allowed to do more, whatever he wants, and so is everybody else. Then we kind of slowed down, started settling it down, not as fast. See, that's the problem, not as fast, because they think because they're not playing at a fast-paced tempo and they're not putting up as many shots, they think it's going to hurt their stats, and that's why they're afraid. They're afraid of their stats. So, what? Instead of averaging 26, you average 23. But isn't that 23 points per game as a potential championship team, a contender, better than having 27 points as a lottery team? And the pace slowed down for us, something we had to make an adjustment on the fly with limited practice time in the course of a game. What? I don't. Once you get into the season, it's hard to readjust the whole system. Yeah, okay, but listen, is this Carmelo Anthony's first year on the Knicks? And I'm sure he knows the triangle. He should be teaching He should be teaching the other players the triangle. And again, Derrick Rose, Jennings, they could. It's their motivation and desire to learn that's lacking. So, who is right? Is it if? I mean, if you're a Knicks fan, whose side do you take? Phil Jackson, who's won 11 rings as a coach with the triangle offense, or Carmelo Anthony, Derrick Rose, and the rest of the Knicks, who are 27 and 45, are gonna miss the playoffs, and have 0 rings, doing it their way? Leave comments. Tell me what you think. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Oh yeah, I forgot this little thing. This is just indicative. Nobody should expect more of you than you expect of yourself. Right. That means Phil, don't expect Carmelo to be something he's not. And then this was a little, again, as I was saying about the criticism. Matt Moore from CBS, he's mad. He's saying it doesn't work. How much longer are we going to keep this up with Jackson at the helm as of the most prominent basketball team in the world's largest market? He blames Phil Jackson. It's not working. He doesn't blame the players. And then the other guy, Tracy McGrady, another guy who has 0 championships. Listen to this. He said that Melo's better than me because of all that that's going on with Melo and Phil has the arrogance to sit in the stands at these games, and I'm playing great basketball. Oh, okay. So the president of the team, he actually has the arrogance to sit in the stands and look at the game and criticize. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine the president of the company where you work actually came out and criticized the employees one day? I don't know. I can't imagine that. And he says, I'd be looking at him every trip down the court or something, just gazing at him like, you see that I'm doing it out here like every night? Nah. Dude, again, what are you doing? It's, there's I mean, everybody almost, there's a lot of players in the NBA who are great and who could put on a show. Again, McGrady, 0 championships. Just like Carmelo, he's all about scoring. Some players can play through that, others can't. And he's saying Melo's obviously he has mental toughness because the Garden is not that easy place to play, and he's been doing his thing lately. He's really been doing his thing. That's the key word. He's been doing his thing lately. There you go, in a nutshell. Carmelo just wants to do his thing. Screw Phil, screw the triangle, screw everybody else. It's as long as Carmelo puts up his numbers, he could say it's everybody else's fault. But history will show that he's just another great scorer, and that's it. Okay, thank you.